All right. So I think it should be clear that out of all the discussion we had on all these selections, the number one was we both, no question. There was no question.
Easy.
You want to take any guesses who it might be? Any guesses? Here we go.
Infield in double play depth for the Mariners. They've had a lot of ground balls so far today. Here's the pitch on the way. He swings and fouls it off. It'll reach the seats over back of the Tiger dugout. And the man from Walla Walla will take that one home. Right-hander against the right-hander. The outfield is straight up and deep on Fielder. He is the DH today. Swing. There's a drive to left. That one is long gone. Renicky off the bag at first. The pitch. He swings, and there's a fly ball to left. Here comes Herndon. He's there. He's got it. The Tigers are the champions of 1984. They race on the field of Bob Hernandez. The Tigers have won the World Series. They are the champions of the world in 1984.
Pretty cool stuff right there.
The voice of summer.
Yeah. What do you say about Ernie Harwell?
Yeah, that hasn't been said before. I mean, we all know how lucky we are that we had him. I mean, I hope this next generation, comes up. I think it's important that we talk about him, that we keep him in the lexicon of Detroit sports, because Ernie was that good. He was a man of the people. He was a man of baseball. He was a man of words. He always found the right thing to say. Man, what knock can you have on Ernie Harwell? I mean, I guess that would be first.
I'll tell you this, in my series, obviously when you're talking about sports and WJR, I couldn't do anything without, there's a segment in my series and in my movie about Ernie Harwell. And so, there was some questions asked of certain individuals, and there was a couple that stood out to me. First was Dick Purton, National Radio Hall of Famer, a broadcasting legend to be sure. Went on and told me in the camera that Ernie Harwell is the best human being, the best broadcaster, the best friend he'd ever known.
Yeah.
What do you say about that? And then another thing I remember is Shawn talking about how when he started at WJR that Ernie Harwell made a point to know his name. But here's the thing. When you talk to Ernie Harwell, and I know both of us have had discussions with Ernie Harwell at some point, when he's talking to you, he doesn't talk past you. He's talking to you.
In the lunchroom, I'd see him, in his booth when, I'd walk by the booth and stuff, and he would always acknowledge you, always say, good morning, good afternoon, whatever, whenever it was, whatever kind of game we were at that day. He was just awesome. He would sign anything that people wanted him to sign. He was just the greatest. I mean, he truly, loved being the voice of the Tigers. It truly was, but just a small part of how good a man he was.
Right.
When he died, he left one of the greatest collections of baseball memorabilia, ever. And a lot of people don't know that, didn't get a chance to, see it, but impressive.
And there's a whole generation that don't remember him even signing off for the last time. One of the clips, I did play a couple clips from Ernie, but I have a couple more that I want to share. This one is him actually signing off for the last time. This is Ernie Harwell, I believe it's in 2002. Take a listen.
The Tigers have just finished their 2002 season, and I've just finished my baseball broadcasting career. And it's time to say goodbye, but I think goodbyes are sad, and I'd much rather say hello. Hello to a new adventure. I'm not leaving, folks. I'll still be with you, living my life in Michigan, my home state, surrounded by family and friends. And rather than goodbye, please allow me to say thank you. Thank you for letting me be part of your family. Thank you for taking me with you to that cottage up north, to the beach, the picnic, your workplace, and your backyard. Thank you for sneaking your transistor under the pillow as you grew up loving the Tigers. Now, I might have been a small part of your life, but you've been a very large part of mine. And it's my privilege and honor to share with you the greatest game of all. Now, God has a new adventure for me, and I'm ready to move on. So I leave you with a deep sense of appreciation for your long-time loyalty and support. I thank you very much, and God bless all of you.
Wow. What a way to go out.
Wow.
But I got to tell you, something that does come back year after year, even though Ernie Harwell hasn't been with us. I can't believe it's been over 20, since, 2009 he passed, right? But I got to tell you, even to this day.
I know that I know it was a super sad day around the park. That's for darn sure.
Here's something that he would always air at the beginning of the season. Take a listen to Ernie.
Lo, the winter is past, the rain is over and gone, the flowers appear on the earth, the time of the singing of birds is come, and the voice of the turtle is heard in our land.
The voice of the turtle. How cool is that?
That's absolutely awesome. That's awesome that you found that, Ron, because I think of that. I think it's a biblical scripture, to be honest with you. But I think of that every time I hear the name Ernie Harwell. He opened every season with that, and it was hope. We were undefeated at that point when we heard that, and baseball was ready.
So I think I'm happy with the top 5, and then even the honorable mentions. And I think there's you could make some arguments over who's where and move people around. But ultimately, I think I don't think anybody can top number 1. No, how can you make an argument?
No, absolutely not. And I mean, we're a big enough market that typically we don't get a guy here until they're rather proven. So as I've said a couple times in this podcast, we're fortunate that 1 through 50 are probably darn fine broadcasters.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I had MLB Network thing for a while. So when I'd go out of town, or even if I was, you could when they play somebody, you can listen to for a while there. You could listen to the opponent's play-by-play announcer. And I can tell you, whenever we got hooked on the MLB Network and it wasn't Dan, it was a nightmare because their guy always sucked. I'm not even making that. Like, even my wife would be like, wow, this guy's terrible. And my wife, she's like always going with the flow. But like, if it wasn't Dan, I'd be like, oh, why'd they give us Joe Blow from Cleveland? This guy's terrible. Get him out of here. It's boring. It's like, it makes me want to stop listening to the game. But no, we have been spoiled here with big time announcers at a very
Super
high level.
spoiled.
High level.